Hey.
Oh man, let's have some fun with it. Let it go.
This shit hard. This shit hard.
Here we go.
You know the vibes.
Take it, bro. No.
I'm not a rapper.
The funny thing
That's
is,
racist.
does anybody have a job right now? Really? Is
I mean,
anybody
shit is opening back up.
getting their jobs back?
I mean, don't tell nobody. What are you, the feds?
Never.
Speaking of losing jobs, I think the Grubhub delivery guy that delivered across the street from me is about to lose his job
Why?
because he threatened my life.
Whoa. Wait, did you call something
Please
in?
tell the story. We must hear this story.
Is this a privileged Joe story?
No,
Let's go.
no,
Are you Karening?
absolutely not. I was full on 100% the victim here.
Wait, you got
Even though that's a Karen statement.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I just pulled in my garage, I popped the trunk. First of all, this is episode 50, MikiDz Show.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give a,
big episode 50.
Yes, sir.
We've made it.
Man.
yeah.
Who would have thought? We thought we'd be canceled
Still
by
here.
now.
Did we?
No.
Oh, okay. But it sounds good.
It just makes the story better.
It
I
does.
think
It
before-
makes it
Well,
sound
Can you
edgy.
just come with me on this?
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm with it. Yeah, so just got in from the grocery store. I'm on the phone with my brother, and I got the trunk popped open to get the groceries out. So the garage is open. Across the street, I see a guy get out of his car, and he's got food with him. And I thought it was a neighbor. I've never met the neighbors directly across the street. They've lived there for 4 years, and we just never, extended a handshake. Whatever.
Same thing with
Fair.
our neighbors, but we finally know them.
But he looks like he was like one of the neighbors or the cousins, or I'm thinking like a family member. or something.
What ethnicity was he?
Hispanic.
Okay.
So he's walking up to the house, and again, I'm on my phone and I'm just looking out, and I notice him walking up. So I just nod my head and say, "What's up?" And he goes, "What's up, fool?"
No. You knew that was coming, bro.
Yeah. So
Sounds like my
I didn't
cousin.
really think anything of it. I just put my head down and continued talking to my phone. I'm in a very serious conversation with my brother. So then he says again, "What's up, fool? You got a problem?" And he's throwing it like he's throwing the food. He's throwing his hands up, but he's got food in each hand. So he's throwing the food. I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? You're my neighbor. Why would I have a problem with you?" And he's like, "What's up, fool? We can handle this right now." And he's still walking across the street to the neighbor's house. I'm like, and then I said about a month ago.
Let me catch you after
The
this
neighbor-
delivery.
Yeah,
Let me finish this.
look, about a month ago, the neighbor was cutting his lawn, had a lot of weeds and shit to get rid of. Whoever he hired came across the street and said, "Hey, can I borrow your green trash can? There's not enough room in our trash cans." I said, "Yeah, go for it. I don't care." He brought it back. Everything was cool. So again, I'm thinking this guy's a neighbor. He's walking up and he's talking shit. And I was like, "Next time you want to borrow my trash can, don't ask me again, motherfucker." And then he's like, and then at this point, his back is to me as he's making his way to the front door. He's like, "I ain't your fucking neighbor, motherfucker." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Joe
right.
fucked up.
And now he's quiet because he's coming up to the doorstep.
Confused.
I'm confused. My brother's like, "What the hell is going on over there?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I just realized it's a delivery guy and he's talking shit to me for no reason." So now he's coming back to his car, and his car's parked across the street, like a house over from where his delivery was.
Sure.
And I'm just all right. I'm not gonna pay him any mind. Still talking on the phone with my brother, and he starts mouthing off again. He's like, "What's up, man? You want to do something?" I'm like, "Bro, like, what? This is a quiet neighborhood. What are you trying to do here? Like, just get the fuck out of here. What's your problem?" And he's like, "Don't tell me what to do. You ain't my daddy. You ain't my daddy. This is my neighborhood. This is my shit. All right, you can't tell me what to do in this neighborhood." But he's like he's ready. Full on, ready to go, but he's walking to his car.
Don't you wish you were training with
So
us?
white man and he's so ready.
He's not ready.
He's so
not
white
ready.
man.
It's tense times right now. He's about to take it all out on me.
Uh-huh.
So he's still talking that shit. And then he's like, I know where you live, bro. It's all good. I know where you live now. And what the fuck is going on? I'm confused. I go to my neighbor's house. I've never met these guys. I wait for him to leave. I go to a neighbor's house. I say, yo, I'm your next door neighbor. I live across the street, Joseph. He told me his name. I said, he's like, what's going on out here? I said, your delivery guy was talking shit for no reason. I thought it was one of you. And he's like, no, man. I said, I'm going to file a complaint. If you don't mind, could you like say something to Grubhub and let them know what their guys are doing, what this guy was doing? And so he did, and I filed a complaint. And I don't know how they handle these types of situations, Like, I don't know if they said the guy across the street from the house that you delivered to at 10:45 a.m. You know what I mean? Because look,
let me tell you how they're gonna handle this. Let me tell you how they're gonna handle this. They're gonna send you a free cheesecake,
right?
And you still gotta deal with Jose, who knows where you live.
Oh man,
you get a free delivery for a month. That's
what's
all
the fucked
get.
up part about that whole situation? As unfortunately, right? You like it was fucked up. Like and it wasn't about race. You literally were like, yo, I mistaked him, thought he was a neighbor, was just trying to say hi, and it escalated into something completely different.
Even if you're a random person, who responds to what's up like that? Like
how old do you think this kid was?
He's probably in his 20s.
Yeah, he had to be a kid.
Yeah. He's probably, and look, this is what, like, when you're in the heat of something, it's happening fast, a lot of things cross your mind, right? So I immediately thought of where I grew up, where Miki and I grew up. In the East Valley, it gets tight, it gets tense. And if you look at someone wrong, it can easily be set off. Yeah. And if someone's crossing your path, like if you're driving one way and they're driving the other, and they look at you, you feel you have to stare back just to let them know I ain't no punk in case you want to get shit popping. Right. Like it's stupid. Yeah. It's the dumbest thing, but
masculinity.
It's masculinity, exactly. It's just the way we were raised.
Yeah.
Or not raised, but how we just perceive this is life out here.
This is our environment.
Right. This is our environment, environmental behavior.
Right.
So that crossed my mind, and I'm not trying to categorize this dude because he could have grew up in fucking Northridge, but just hung out with different people, or people that didn't grow up in Northridge. So immediately I thought, oh, I know who you are. Like you're that kid from East Valley that, I don't know, I'm not saying you're a gangster, but you grew up around that type of, those people that were cut from that cloth.
Well, let me stop you. Why didn't you just say, we're good? My bad.
And I tried saying all that.
Okay,
I tried I was like, whatever, dude. I'm like, just keep moving. I'm good. I'm over it. And
you whatever them.
Yeah, so he didn't like that.
But no matter what I said, though, no matter what I said, he was ready. He was like ready to throw down.
I'm trying to be on the receiving end. And someone was like, "What's up? What's up, nigga? Like, what's up with you?" I mean, I get how it could have been taken.
You said that happened to you recently.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing delivery, but
same thing.
I walked up to the guy because I thought he was. I thought he was the guy that I was delivering.
But it de-escalated quickly.
Well, yeah, because he was like, he thought I was his PO. Apparently, the timing was just all wrong. And he was like, I just got off the phone with my PO and you look similar to him. This was a Hispanic dude. And he was like, you look similar to my PO. So, and he just called me. He just got off the phone saying, I'm coming to pay you a visit. So obviously, as he got off the phone, I'm walking up, but I'm going to go deliver it to someone else.
Yeah.
Right. And he just happened to be outside. So I assumed it was him because they said the house was on the corner or the apartment was on the corner. Yeah. So he looked at me like, yo, what's good? And I was like, oh shit, what's good? Like, yo, and this way, and I said the name and he was just like, nah, fool. And I was just like, oh shit, all right, whatever. And I walked away and he was like, yo, I thought you was my PO. I was like, well, I'm not, nigga. And then, kind of like walked away.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, right. So, kind of, but so I get it, like how there could be that misconception in that moment. Like you're saying, hey, what's up? And he's like, what's good, nigga? Like, you got a problem with me?
But so here's the thing, like, I didn't respond to that. If I would have responded, then clearly I had a problem with him.
No,
I just put my head down and kept talking on the phone, and he continued. He felt he had to,
he probably saw a white guy being like, what's up? I'm in his neighborhood, and he was just like, yo, what the fuck?
I'm just around here.
Yeah, like I'm just delivering shit. Why are you jumping on me for?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Joe, you're not thinking, that he grew up the same way we grew up.
Absolutely.
Or the same people that we hung out with.
Exactly.
And he might not look at him in that manner where your what's up to him in this current climate that we're in could mean, hey, what are you doing in this neighborhood?
Right.
In my white neighborhood.
Completely misread.
But you can also, like, I agree with that, but I've been in neighborhoods where people come out and I'm waiting for something. They're like, who you with?
Right.
And if I say what's up to anybody, they're already like ready to go.
Right.
So he I don't know what was going on in his head.
He's on edge.
But yeah, at the end of the day, he was on edge, but he could have just thought, this is how I react. Right. This is his natural reaction when he's not in his comfort zone, He
could have been heartbroken.
Yeah, he's out of his neighborhood. Like I said, I think
Somebody
it was just a misread situation. He's out of his neighborhood. He was just doing a job. He got approached by a white guy, so he reacted.
The last guy didn't give him a tip.
He reacted.
Probably, you're right. Yeah,
you don't know his stress.
He just reacted, and he was just like, what?
And I doubt the last thing on his, I believe the last thing on his mind was, I'm representing a company. I probably shouldn't get crazy.
They don't give a fuck. They're independent contractors. They don't give a shit. Yeah.
I don't care who they represent.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Episode 50. Off to a
start the fucking podcast.
Shout out to Grubhub.
That would pop.
You should have just told him, you're in the danger zone.
Oh, shit. Started playing Kenny Lock.
Oh, you want to do this?
We need to do a skit with that shit.
Pop out a nunchuck.
It's been such a long time since I've been hit up like that.
Grubhub? That sponsorship, Grubhub.
Yeah, I fuck with Postmates anyway. So.
Yeah, Postmates.
It's all good. Anyhow, how we feeling? How's everybody's mental health? My brothers.
Yeah.
Everybody feeling good?
Yeah.
Good. I think I think we're in an awkward place now with DJs getting back to work.
Yeah.
And guys are being paid.
Yeah.
And some are being paid less, some are being paid more.
Right.
It really depends on the venue.
Yeah.
Mike, you had a situation come up.
I just had a booking for a booker friend that manages a couple lounges in Las Vegas, and he was I think more inquiring what my temperature was on just leaving LA, and traveling and being in Vegas where things are a little more progressive in the sense of where they are in phases and how they're treating things in the casino. So there was opportunities, and it's not a nightclub, which is kind of more around where I had been targeting my next couple dates for. But they made it clear that the budget was
in your range,
was increased specifically because there isn't clubs to go to.
Yeah.
For now. And so that made it intriguing. Yeah. And then, when there's a proper offer, I wasn't offered anything officially, but when there's a proper offer, I said I would at the very least consider it. Yeah. As long as it aligns with the brand. So I don't know, it puts you in it gives you interesting perspective in whether it's something to do or not.
Do you think
go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, do you think now, with that being said, do you think DJs are going to not, even with the rate being what they would either normally receive or close to it, do you think because the venue itself is not that A caliber spot, will DJs turn that down still?
I think that's a really good question. And I've worked with this company before, and their accommodations and rate was higher than the nightclub in their hotel. Mm-hmm. And I think at that point, I don't know, in my perspective, I feel that the rate reflects your brand. And so if you're able to still get the rate and, high, let's just say higher than the nightclub would offer, then I think you're still kind of keeping your value there. But I'm in a different situation. Like DJing still not the prime source of income. And so I think it just comes down to your situation. I think, people have different bills and different needs. And
Joe, what about you? Would you accept it?
Yeah, I don't think any DJ should be concerned about what things look like now, because if anything, we all could use some practice runs, right? Yeah. We could also get a feel.
Amen, brother.
You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you guys to come over the other day.
I mean, we
critique me a little bit.
we can run the hits, but we want to know what new songs work. So I don't, and there's that side of the spectrum where you're getting pretty good money and you're in Vegas and everyone loves that on the resume. And then there's another side where I talked to a booker outside of LA County, still in California, and he said that their club is open. They had $500 minimums for their table, 50% capacity. Tables were sold out, and they didn't have an opener. They just had one DJ from 10 to 2, and they paid him $100 an hour. And so I'm not mad at those DJs for taking that either.
Yeah.
You know, because again, you gotta get your legs under you, and I don't think the booker will hold you to that rate. I think it is up to you to be creative and continue to push that. That my brand is worth this, but we're in a unique situation. So I'm gonna do this for that.
Yeah.
And it all depends on your relationship with the booker and the booker's boss. Right. Because, you know, the booker can say one thing, he can say, yo, we just got this guy. Your booker can paint it however he wants. Hopefully the booker is 100% on your team and helping you get max money. So if the booker says, we're going to pay this guy $400, but he's really a $1,500 or whatever, $2,000 DJ, but we're getting him at a good price. Let's not forget this. Let's keep an eye.
Yeah.
Let's, you know.
He's doing us a solid.
His brand is X, Y, and Z. People love him. He spins all over the place. You know, let's just keep that in mind next time. I suggest, if he kills it. Yeah. If he kills it, let's keep that in mind next time I
would imagine if you have 4 hours to DJ, you're going to kill it.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, like we talked about this 2-3 months ago. Now we're getting your brand right. Like now we're going to see whose brands evolved and who changed, who's just, you know, everyone. I think a lot of DJs were stuck, or most DJs were stuck in a specific rate. What are you going to do now? What have you been doing to get out of that rate? Like, it takes a lot of thinking and a lot of grinding, but you should be able to figure something out to where you say, yo, I'm going to work with you, but maybe not tell them, but in the back of your head, have a game plan.
Yeah.
You know, have something to where you can go from 400 to 750 or, you know, at least 750 moving forward. And then it's up to you to maintain that brand.
I mean, look, on the business side, let's be transparent. Like if you're smart enough to apply for, PUA assistance or like getting that EDD card, and now you're able to negotiate a rate that's cash, like, and you can bring in some extra income, and it's under the table, and you're able to at least get your hands warmed up. By all means, like
run with it,
go run with it, do your thing. I think everybody understands where we're at.
No one should be judged right now, and if it's someone like Vice doing something at a club that pays $500. Believe it's a solid. It's Vice being a really good dude and taking care of a friend. At least that's how I would.
Yeah, and just understanding what the venue is going through right now, and just trying to get.
Not saying that's happening.
Not saying it's happening.
Not insinuating that.
And I mean, you got to understand it because the if you are one of those DJs that get paid $1,000, $1,500 to $2,000, whatever your rate is, at spots that at 100% capacity can, you know, easily get those numbers off. You got to understand and work with them. Like, we can only go up to 50% capacity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're only selling tables.
Well, this is where it gets tricky. I had a source tell me Encore Beach Club Friday and Saturday sold all their tables. And again, it's 50% capacity, but they were doing $2,500 for the cabanas upstairs and $2,000 for downstairs, and then $1,000 for some crappier sections. But
that's sad. $1,000 for some crappier sections.
Yeah, I know. Brokies.
There's no bad seat at EBC.
No, there isn't. Exactly. I'm just kidding. But and he said, I feel like they made over $100,000 and they didn't have a DJ. Okay. So
they just play music like over.
They just had the music playing. Yeah. I don't know if it's because they weren't allowed to have a DJ, or they just said, let's give it a shot and see what happens. Now, this can put guys like you and I, and probably all of our listeners, in a funky spot, because we can say, I know what you're roughly making.
Yeah.
Okay. I have an idea. Like, I think DJs are more hip to it now because they're doing more research now. At least I hope. You know, what's it to you to pay me $1,000, at least $1,000 for spending, I don't know, 5 hours, whatever they have them do, kind of like an all day set or whatever. What's it to you to pay me $1,000 when you're making over $100,000? You know? Or do you say, you're only going to pay me 300, 400, but it's a good opportunity to get in? Like, I don't know if some of these bigger spots look out for those, not little guys, but quote unquote.
Little guys, yeah.
You know, little guys. Are they going to look out for them in the long run and say, yo, he killed it. He did us a solid. Let's help, you know, let's work with him. Let's co-create. Let's synergy, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if all the big venues are looking at it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but as on the business side, right? As a business owner, like there's so much money that's been lost.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because they're still only at 50%.
You have to account for the fact that, sure, even if you did the numbers and every table sold out, they're let's just say their gross is $100K. Well, right off top, you gotta keep into mind what their overhead is, what they've been like, and a company like Win, who didn't stop paying their employees, like throughout the entire COVID time. That's just, they've been burning money.
Yeah,
you know, so they have to find a way to help the bottom line. And not having a $50,000 DJ is a huge part of that. Yeah. But
they cut that DJ budget quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first way to go when you're artist based.
Non-existent.
But, I mean, I think sometimes like these situations just show you like what you can really do without having the big bill on an artist or whatever. And people just, at this point, people just want to be out, right? That's how they're feeling. So I would reason that. I'm not saying $300, $400 is like acceptable. I think at the end of the day, the DJ will make the best decision for themselves. Yeah. And regardless of what they're getting paid, if they're DJing, they've accepted whatever terms are being given. That's on them. Now, how they can leverage that or how they can use that to give themselves a better position in the future, you got to just keep that in mind, I think, as a DJ. But
do you guys feel that it'll put DJs in a tougher position now that they've experienced, even being at only allowed to be at 50 capacity, still selling out tables without even having a DJ?
Well, I think, and we said this before, I said it was going to happen, that clubs are, and I'm not saying it's happening now, but clubs will take advantage of this and say, the ball's in our court. We're paying you what we say we're going to pay you. Now, some situations are cool, like Mike's friend hitting him up saying, we got a great budget for you. And then there going to be some situation where it's like, yo, we got 300, even though we're at 75, 100% capacity. This is what we got. We got to make up for some shit, like whatever. I think it's ultimately what I think, especially, I've been wrapping my head around this for a while, whether you're in Vegas, LA, whatever, chances are there's only a very, very small handful of DJs that can get the money they want in their hometown. Okay? So I'm saying that because you got to get your big money outside of your hometown. Yeah. If you're used to getting 400, 500 in Vegas and Vegas bookers only see you in that light, you got to go get your double, triple, quadruple somewhere else.
Take that trip to Reno real quick.
You got to go to because you have the brand to say, I spin at Tao, I spin at Encore Beach Club. You have that on the resume. So go get those big bags somewhere else. But I believe that's what it is for all cities. Again, I know a few LA DJs that'll go and get 1,500 at One Oak when One Oak was open. Yeah. You know, and that's a lot for an LA DJ. Right. But I assume he's out in Vegas getting 300 or 400 or somewhere in that ballpark. You know, not every DJ, far from every DJ can get that. So regardless, I think a lot of DJs are just gonna, if they really want to continue to DJ at these venues, they might have to just play ball because you don't have a union. You don't have DJs. You don't have a group chat of 100 DJs saying, yo, don't take this booking from this club. Yeah. They're only paying 200.
I might get shit for what I'm about to say on the socials, but let's just clear the air. It's Miki saying this. I think DJs blew a 3-1 lead. Like we had the power.
They Golden State in 2016.
Everything going for us with the whole stream thing, be nice, and it just feels like all the energy just got sucked from where the momentum was going. And then now that venues are opening back up, guys are kind of like giving into the situation. The ones that are holding out, I think, have the leverage. I think they're gonna be better down the long road and get some better opportunities if they play it right. But I gotta say, like, from the outside looking in, it seemed like there was so much attention. Like, oh my God, look how powerful the DJ is, and look how he's this and he's that, and that lasted about a month. And then now, like things are going back to normal. It doesn't seem like.
I feel in a sense that is the reason right now, because things are just now starting to open up. So people are thirsty to get out. People are thirsty to get back into these, these venues and these spots right now. So in a sense, the ball is in the venue's court. The ball is in their court. They have control of how they want to maneuver. I think as time passes, there's going to get to a point where like, all right, we need that energy that we receive from that DJ. You know what I mean? The good DJs that provide that type of, build that atmosphere and create that energy in a venue, the venues are going to be like, all right, we need that. We got to stop playing games. We got to give them what they're asking for. And, let's get to it so that we can still continue to be successful as especially as time passes, they're going to start to be allowed to be, more and more up to full capacity. You know what I'm saying? If they only at 50, I imagine like the next step would be 75 to 100 or whatever.
So the next phase is Game 7.
Exactly. Exactly.
I wanted to backpedal because go back to talking about artists, DJs, and their rates being too high. I talked to a booker from Atlanta who does a big club out there, and she said, I asked her, I said, hey, you don't have to tell me. This might be a little personal for you guys, but are artists have any of the artists, producer, DJs, have they lowered their rate? And she said, no, they haven't, which is fine with us because honestly, that like they're not doing anything for us. So if anything, that's just more work for guys like you.
Yeah.
So I imagine if that's the case, if that's across the board for all the agencies, if that's the mentality of the agencies, like our artists have so much money, they don't need to work right now. They can hold out. Also, that's not the smartest mentality because your agents aren't going to eat. So they're going to be starving. But if that's the mentality of we're going to hold out and keep our $30,000 rate, fine. That's more work for guys like us and the listeners. And I think some of these clubs will say, yeah, we'll give you $1,500.
Yeah.
Like, because we're saving $30,000, and you can do a better. And we all know it's no secret that the open format DJ does a better job than the EDM guy or the producer or the artist or the whoever that just so happened to become a DJ in the last year.
Yeah.
Shots fired?
No, that's fact based. That's fact based. I did my research. I've been to every venue and saw every single one. No, I'm kidding.
I've done my research.
That's hard research.
Stanford University.
But getting back to the DJs going live, it makes me think, the quick evolution of it, DJs hit live. Everyone's going live. I don't know, some guys built up a following, some didn't really build up a following. It was just something to do. And this was a good opportunity leading into the clubs opening up again. Now it makes me wonder, was this, in regards to bookings, I know there's a number of reasons you could have done the streaming live. And again, it's also not these guys' fault because IG kicks them off. Now Twitch is kicking them off, and there's all these issues with these other platforms. So it's all over the place, which really fucks things up for the DJs trying to make something of it. But with all that being said, was this a waste of time for the guys that were were using this to elevate their brand and get bookings coming out of this? Or can some of these DJs say, yeah, this is going to give me a plethora of bookings moving forward?
No, I think it's definitely. I feel like it definitely benefited a lot of DJs who utilize it to their full potential.
In regards to bookings, though.
In regards to bookings,
you think it's going to get them bookings?
Because what you have mentioned on previous episodes about how what the endless possibilities for these venues to do at this this first stage of opening. You know what I mean? Being that they can only open up to 50, 60%. They can flirt with the ideas of either streaming DJs from indoors or artists or whoever from indoors or from their homes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that I think if that is a route that some venues decide to go in a way, that benefits them, these DJs getting booked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Allowing them to be able to stream either from their crib or stream from the venue itself. Since, all right, cool, we got DJ Vice in the building tonight. You know what I'm saying? We're only allowed to go up to 50, 60% capacity, but he's going to be streaming. Make sure you tune in, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? That's going to help them out if they want to utilize that to help them sell merch, whatever avenues that they can utilize and get more, be able to collect more money to, to get as much as they possibly can, even only being at 50, 60%. I think it works in their favor. It works in the DJ's favor. And like you said, this is something that they were doing during this whole quarantine thing that was helping their brand and evolving their brand. It's utilized as a stream. We've been praising Angie V this entire time about how, how she went about it, and she like flawlessly just kind of like took over, the streaming platforms when they came from IG, and I'm sure she's on Twitch now, if I'm not mistaken.
Possibly.
You know what I'm saying? I think for someone like her, it's definitely going to benefit her. People are gonna look, bookers are gonna look at that and they're like, yo, Angie V's following was crazy. You know what I mean? Like her streaming was dope. Like her name is definitely gonna be ringing through people's ears.
And it seemed like she got some brand endorsements out of it.
Exactly.
And like
what
opportunities. I mean? And even though she is kind of like a rare example of those things, I think ultimately from the outside looking in, it looks like more viewers or more people were able to see DJs that they might not have given a chance before.
Yep.
Whether it was just organically through, even when we all did our things, like we would always share to other friends to at least get in there and get them to talk in the chat from one perspective. And then for me personally, I can say like it forced me to push my creative and my like computer nerd side that I've had since high school, that where I had to go teach myself how to do After Effects and graphics, and now I'm sitting on a Dropbox with 300 green screen effects like that. I can later incorporate into a live show and give it to a video guy like at the club, like all things that in some way indirectly will add value to my brand.
I guess I'm gonna keep an eye and see what happens with these guys that were heavy on streaming, because at one point a month or two ago I was like, use this as an opportunity, when it comes to bookings, and make sure they remember you. But I think a lot of guys, I think they just slowed up from it, and I don't know, maybe they moved to Twitch. I see who's on Twitch and who's on IG. I don't watch all their sets, but I keep note of who's doing what. But I just don't know if this is gonna translate and transfer to clubs. I don't know if the clubs will care. I hope they care. I hope they say, yo, this guy's been putting in work. He's developed his following. I hope that's the story. Every week there's something different. Every week there's something new, or there's a new problem, or there's a new thing to do, or a new platform to jump on. So it's hard, and by no fault of anybody's, it's hard to stay uniform and organized. And, Vice has been consistent at it. He's been doing his thing, whether you've been watching every day or not. He's been consistent, and I'm sure. And again, I'm only speaking in regards to bookings. Like I know there's hundreds of different things you could have grabbed from streaming, but I just wanted to talk about bookings.
I want to ask you go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I want to ask the opposite. Do you think this is going to hurt DJs, hurt DJs that didn't utilize streaming at all? Like they were like, I'm not going to really do the streaming thing. Do you think it's going to, and these DJs that, got booked on a more consistent base prior to the quarantine, and them not utilizing the streaming, do you think that hurt that? Because, obviously, they were kind of quiet.
I don't think it hurt them. But I do think it's a missed opportunity. Like, because beyond the DJ or the DJ set, like, I think one of the most important things when you want to work with somebody is their personality. And, the way these streams work, you had to have a personality. You had to engage. You had to have a conversation. And I think just based on how you, like, can show you're having a good time without a crowd, like that makes people, going back to some of our early episodes, just don't be an asshole. It made you realize who may not be an asshole, who's actually kind of cool, and gives you a good vibe. So I think and I would argue your point where you're talking about directly to bookings. I think everything that you do reflects to your booking, because it evolves your mindset and how you approach things. And at the end of the day, it could, in an indirect but direct way, right? Like have a role in how you move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I can speak from my own experience. I didn't do any live streaming, and I don't feel like it hurt me. I still have my relationship.
You were pumping out fucking dope shit.
Well, and that's another thing. If you were putting out content,
you were putting out other energy.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the guys that just weren't doing shit, well.
Yeah, because you think about it, and I go back to what I was saying, because if you're someone who's constantly getting booked, right? You know, in my opinion, outside of their flyers, their content was minimal.
Yeah.
Right. They're, as far as like whatever it is,
Right.
You know, unless they were a producer and they were putting out tracks. But if they're working 4, 5, 6 nights a week, that's what their focus was on. You know,
Right.
making sure they're preparing sets, whatever. So all content is flyers. I'm booked here. I'm booked there. Doing this, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So they weren't used to being in that realm of creating content and constantly pushing that out at the same time while doing gigs and stuff like that. So when this opportunity came, when they had all this free space, they didn't utilize that and put out any content. So that's what I'm saying. Not just streaming, because I felt like that could have been just the easier route than finding some other way to put out content, regardless if it was mixes, scratch, whatever videos, visuals that you want to put out or whatever. The easier route would have just been like, yo, just go stream. Go fucking DJ for an hour or 2 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as being able to put out content, you can do that. You can DJ. Fucking DJ. You know what I mean?
Ultimately, I think it just comes down to your relationships.
Yeah.
It's like, again, if I honestly think if I didn't stream, if I didn't put out any music, I think the same people that I was messing with earlier, you know, like they would still, hey, we're getting things going. Like I feel that way. We'll never know because I was putting shit out.
Yeah.
But I really think it comes down to your relationships. And you know, like 2-3 months ago wasn't that long. So what people thought of you before Corona hit, they probably still think the same as long as you didn't say anything stupid on
Right.
Twitter. But they probably still think,
a lot has happened that will fuck people, like will fuck their image.
yeah.
of you.
If you
Like,
said all lives matter, you ain't worth it.
yeah, you said some dumb shit.
People are not being silent about canceling anybody. So
at all.
Yeah.
you are getting called, including us. You know, we keep our voices up there. But I will double down on what you're saying in regards to just putting content's really important.
Yeah.
And
well, that keeps you in their eyes.
well, let me put, and I won't say his name, but there is a booker who, even on an athlete that we all praise and celebrate, and his message back to me was, "Oh, you fuck with him?" He's like, now I'm like, yeah, me and Danger fuck with him heavy, and then he just was like, man, now I like you guys even more. And it's like little things like that are so indirect, have nothing to do with our DJ careers.
Yeah.
But like it just makes people like further connect with you as a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I think that part of it is dope.
Connecting will be the gold. Connecting will be what's it? The like money. Like what's?
Currency.
I mean, your network's your net worth.
Your net. Yeah, connect throughout this whole thing. Connecting with DJs and connecting with others. Because even on some non-DJ related stuff, I was talking to someone and they said that they would tag these people because they were part of some situation. And because they were tagging them and in that same situation with them, they connected with them. And now they're talking business and doing shit. So I don't know. You can't change what you've done in the last 2-3 months, but you should have been doing something to connect and moving forward, you know, connecting with whoever.
I possibly met a future business partner through that mile a day thing.
It is.
And it's not even like, it has nothing to do with running. Like, you know,
there you go.
It's just about putting yourself out there and finding similar situations.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say quickly what you were saying, and you nerding out, learning new shit.
Yep.
The evolution of all this streaming shit is gonna, you know what I mean? Something's going to happen. You know, the PS5 just been revealed. Their technology is going to advance.
Yeah.
So something is going to happen with streaming. There's gonna be, like you said, a platform that's gonna emerge as the new Instagram or whatever, you know? So, you know, I don't think either way, you know, like you said, as long as you're doing something, you're good to go. You know what I mean?
Moment of silence for Ustream. They were ahead of they were ahead of the game.
Man.
Yeah.
I want to go back to look for them, and
they had some potential, man. They dropped the ball.
Right.
Speaking of being ahead of the game, DJcity has an update.
Yeah.
To their website.
Man. Have you guys been on it? Have you guys checked it out?
I haven't.
I even watched the Mojax video.
Oh, I didn't check out the Mojax video. I just, I went on there and I experienced it for myself and just, messed around with it a little bit. And it's dope. The layout is clean. I really like the fact that you can preview the entire song now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have the little waveform at the bottom.
Speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up because someone in the DJcity chat said everything looks great, but I don't like that the preview's at the bottom because now not to sound lazy, but now I got to scroll down to fast forward it or make my adjustments. Then I got to scroll back up. And
someone will speed up his mouse.
Wow,
cursor.
that's like milliseconds, bro.
I know,
Like,
but everything we do is like milliseconds. But it's an inconvenience,
oh
right?
my god. Oh.
But the way around that is use your left and right arrow.
Privilege.
Yeah, privilege. The way around that.
This DJ White.
They're from Europe, probably.
He's probably European. He's probably European.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
So the way around that, though, I don't think Mojack's touched on it, but I think the way around it is you hit your arrow, your left and right arrow, to speed through it, fast forward.
Yeah.
Just like you would do.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I appreciated that new feature.
Yeah. The grading is out. You don't like. People didn't understand why they were grading songs, but it's something the labels have wanted for a long time. But I don't think they care anymore.
Click on it and hit download. I was like, shit.
They might have started reading some of the things we were writing.
Because everyone's just saying, okay.
But what I'm saying before is
2 dots.
Now when DJcity first came up with Record Pool. You had to.
You had to say something.
You had to say something.
I got in trouble.
You download it, right?
For what I was saying.
And like you would say, like I don't understand why it's necessary for me to even fucking have to like just let me download the fucking track, or you know what I mean? People was
shit's alright.
Then they made it where it's like you still had to rate it by with the stars, but you did the comment was optional.
Right.
Like that was optional.
Well,
like,
I don't know if DJcity wants us sharing this, but once upon a time there was a remixer who clapped back at someone for the guy just giving an honest response, like, yeah, it's cool, it's just not really for me. It was something along those lines.
Yeah.
And the remixer clapped, like researched this guy and clapped back, and DJcity is like, yeah, this isn't cool. Then I don't know what they did about it.
Yeah, it's all bad.
I imagine this was like many moons ago.
Just let me download the fucking track, bro, if I fucks with it or not.
And also about downloading the track, if you load it up to your crate on your app, as soon as you open up the desktop app, it automatically downloads to your download.
It's dope.
Yeah, so you don't got to touch anything.
And the search is
search is better.
Yeah,
so
the search is not
COVID
as
friendly.
fucking sensitive, man.
The search, it was a mess.
So the search, that was the first thing I checked when I went on that shit. I was like, hold up.
Let me get the search bar.
Okay. I was like, man. So yeah, shout out to DJcity,
Big ups to
man.
DJcity, man.
Yeah, they got a nice little update on the site. If you guys and I are already DJcity members, you go ahead and subscribe.
If I'm not mistaken, it's only the third time ever, or maybe fourth, but I think it's only the third time they've done an upgrade to the site. So enjoy.
Yeah.
And
because this could possibly be the last one.
Yeah. Shout out to BeatSource.
Big ups to BeatSource, who also just announced their collaboration or integration with Hercules models.
The MIDI control.
The MIDI controller. So make sure to check that out also.
Yep.
The world continues to evolve.
Indeed it does.
Things are happening.
Are we satisfied with what's going on? Or are we
Yes
still got our foot on the pedal?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because there's been a lot of great changes out there. You can see like a huge amount of support. Things that obviously that we touched on the last episode about people having these uncomfortable conversations that continue to happen. That is the great thing. Shout out to Jordan Brand. They have announced that they are committing to $100 million for the next 10 years.
Well, that was because Kanye donated money and Jordan took it personal. Jordan took it personal.
If that's how you want to look at it, listen.
That's how I'm looking at it. That's the only way it makes sense to me.
I'm all for the bidding wars.
So we're bringing this up. All right.
I'm all for the bidding wars. But shout out to Kanye. He donated $2 million and he's paying for George Floyd's kids
legal team. Huh? Oh, college.
He's paying for everything.
He's paying for everything. Yeah.
He was buried in a solid gold casket. Did y'all see that?
No.
Solid gold.
Oh my God.
24 karat gold.
That's crazy.
Beautiful.
You're gonna need
he's a king, so
security around that grave.
Fuck Starbucks. Let's first say that.
What'd they do?
Just get it all out of the way. Should we go down the line of who's canceled?
Until further notice.
What's going on?
Starbucks just announced that they are no longer allowing employees to have any type of propaganda about Black Lives Matter.
Oh no.
They're banning that shit. Like if you were an employee of Starbucks, and
wasn't in those words. I'm not defending Starbucks, but yeah, fuck Starbucks.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
Starbucks.
they were basically like, we're banning any, employee of any like.
They trying to stay neutral. We can't have that.
I mean, I'm gonna go spend all my stars and then my balance, but
Not, yeah. I mean, by all means, you're not coming out of pocket with that
No,
shit.
we
That's all,
liquidating.
whatever.
We
Like, I get it.
liquidating.
You know what I mean? Like, and
we're liquidating assets
I
around
think,
here.
I think that was a wrong move for Starbucks, man. To be honest with you,
No, that was stupid.
I think
Because
that was
they
it.
had that big incident with
Yeah,
the guy.
that's exactly why I said I think that was a terrible, terrible, terrible move for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just cleaned that up. Everyone forgot about that, right?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, not anymore.
No, we didn't.
Not anymore. You fucked up. I'm sorry, man. And it heartbroke. I was an avid Starbucks goer.
Same.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
And-
Sam's been on Coffee Bean anyways.
Man,
That's
listen,
been
but-
Yo, and at Costco.
Gang.
yeah.
At Costco, you
but-
can get $100 worth of Coffee Bean
Gift card.
gift card for $80.
Yeah, I mean, but since this whole quarantine thing started, wifey and I have been supporting more mom and pop
There you
coffee
go.
shops.
There
You
you
know
go.
what I mean? So it's just been dope being able to discover a lot of these shops. I do appreciate the highlight of more black businesses. A lot of people have
Yeah.
been supporting them. They've been, let me rephrase that. I like the good black businesses with the great product, the great customer service, because just like any other business, regardless if they're black, white, Hispanic, whatever, there's some shitty ass businesses out there. So
Absolutely.
I'm all for supporting the good ones, you know what I
There you
mean,
go.
that have great customer service and, great employees and just a great product overall.
Right.
So, like I said, we didn't expect change overnight.
No,
It's starting to progress, you know what I mean? That's a good sign. Shit still needs to happen.
I like that people are not only just putting up the black squares and they're not only taking the little steps, they're saying, this is what we stand by. A lot of them just say, we stand by Black Lives Matter. And they left it at that. But shout out to the companies that are taking it a step further
Yeah.
and saying, this is what we're doing to change
Exactly.
the issue. We're hiring X amount of minorities, black people. We're I was looking at Y3's whole thing.
Right, inclusion. It's a big thing, because a lot of people are saying it's like you get 100 employees and you got 5 black employees. That's not inclusion. You feel me? Like,
Well, before you go into the Y3 thing,
Yeah.
owned by Adidas,
Right.
and Adidas has their entire company protested against the company
Mhm.
because of the amount of racism that was occurring inside of that building.
Wait, Adidas protested against Y3?
Their own company.
No, the
Adidas
employees.
is owned by Y3. Y3 is a
Right.
component of
Yeah.
Adidas. Adidas staff held a huge
Huge
protest
protest, yeah.
against Adidas
Gotcha.
because of the amount of turmoil and racism that was happening or that was occurring in that building. So
Yeah. And not only just Y3, but we can get into the
Nike
Joe Budden
boys.
podcast later. But Joe Budden was making some excellent points on how record labels is primarily, at least hip hop, is primarily black rappers. And
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
So why isn't there a black man at the top who knows the climate, who grew up in what these guys are talking about, who knows the culture? Why is it some white dude who doesn't know? All he knows is
I can
money.
monetize this.
He
you
knows
talking
how,
about
yeah.
the label or
labels.
All
Yeah,
labels.
labels.
Yeah. Right.
All the labels, yeah.
I'm gonna say, well, I'll say this. I mean, obviously, you could get into the whole systematic oppression and how things got set up from the early days and how fucked up it got. But I think really where it comes down to is, yes, with all the rappers, and if you get on the same page and you unionize, and this goes for equality, right?
Yeah.
You have to fund yourself. You have to bet on yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's where it starts.
Yeah.
From there, I mean, and you love to see it. Guys like Nipsey and everybody else who just really push the envelope to, you need to own your masters. You need to own your product.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
it's
there.
reasons why this coronavirus. These are the reasons why you need to own your shit
Yeah, absolutely.
because you're not doing shows.
Speaking to
Shit's burning down.
the systematic racism that started from the beginning. They knew what they were doing when they find that kid from the hood that's trying to get out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, hey, here, sign this paper.
Yeah,
You know what I
opportunists.
mean?
Yeah,
Sign
yeah.
this paper.
We'll get you out of this
360, yeah.
situation.
You live
We'll
in
get you
over here in this
situation.
nice house. You got your car. You got your jewelry. You good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're not getting no money.
There's no
you know?
guidance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We talked about this off the pod, briefly last night or this morning. just what Joe Budden was expressing with, you know, Lil Yachty in that whole situation. Like, knowing what your business is.
Yeah.
It's number one. It's important.
Yeah.
Like my boy LaMicah Levert, son of Gerald Levert, grandfather Eddie Levert from the OJs. He's been vocal about this since this whole thing has been going, because he's trying to get the masters from his father's catalog, you know, and he got these lawyers sitting there with his money, sitting there with the whole catalog, and people are, you know, sampling records, and you know, he can't even touch their money. So, you know, it's very important.
I think a good approach for record labels is to start treating these contracts as partnerships as opposed to employees. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you sign a contract and it shouldn't feel like, oh, you own me now. Like, everything that I do, you own it. You know what I'm saying? And treat it as a partnership. Look, we have a platform. You have the talent. We have the platform. Let's partner up and create something larger. You know what I'm saying? Even if regardless of what the split is, if it's 50-50, 60-40, whatever the split is, but there's some agreements to that. You own your shit. Like, if I'm out here creating shit, I want to be able to own it. I don't want to have to ask you, can I play my own shit on Instagram? You know what I'm saying? Like,
we might need to do a deep dive into the music game and bring, you know, I know you guys have hits only, and you guys are going through the process, and maybe we can call in a friend that is further into the relationships with a large label. My understanding is Empire seems to be the one that's kind of doing things the right way.
Atlantic is too, right? Kind of. I think they're trying to merge
there's
into
some
that direction.
People who are making progress. We should definitely dive into that, because it seems like a very interesting and complex topic. In the future. For DJs who are trying to be artists.
Well, it's just good to just know.
Well, we could definitely discuss this forever.
And I mean, and it's the same. I think the same thing for any industry. You know, same thing with sports. You know what I mean? How come there's there's barely any black owners of teams? You know what I'm saying? And you think about, like, you know, how's that come apart? You know, even when Jay-Z had his ownership of the Brooklyn Nets, he only owned 1%, 1.5, whatever, some shit like that. Some very microscopic
number. Just the face of it.
Yeah, he was just pretty much like, all right, we need you to be the face of it. Cool. You know, moving from Jersey to Brooklyn.
Tell us what's cool.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from, like, I mean, look, whether it starts from when home loans were first being given and people that were a certain color were being given better rates and other people that weren't because they were higher risk or whatever, or it doesn't matter if, you know, this person of color has this resume and this person of color has this resume, and it's the exact same thing, but they're going to get to this college than that college. Like, all those things play an effect further down the road.
Exactly.
Right? Because real estate was one of the first, like, real ways of getting to family wealth. And then generationally, what you're trying to do is build this family line and wealth. And people of color were placed in a different position. And now they're becoming, people of color in general are becoming more successful. They have a bigger voice, they have a bigger platform, and it's time to come together.
Speaking of generation wealth, I recently found, and I didn't notice about this. I didn't know this.
You rich.
Oh shit, nigga, if I was rich, I'd be gone.
You wouldn't even be here, actually.
Be gone. I'd be like, listen, fellas.
Where's Sean and Rell?
Look at Sean just throwing himself in there. Sean just throwing himself in there.
You know I'm going.
Sean immediately did. That was slick. That was slick.
It's a point.
That was smooth.
We stick together.
I dig it. I dig it.
What I found out is that when slaves were freed, owners actually got money for each slave that they owned. At the time, I think they received like $300 per slave, each slave. So it wasn't like, and they said, and they did the math, and that was the equivalent of $8,000 today. Imagine. And he was like, how many owners, how many slave owners only owned one slave? You know what I'm saying? And that's when he was like, you imagine today if slavery was still around and they freed it and you were given $8,000 for each slave you had. You talk about wealth. People invested that into fucking buying property and homes and shit like that. And that's how they just, that's how they stayed rich and slaves got what they got.
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Not to continue on with this history lesson here that's much needed, of course, but the Brits were trying to get all the black people in America to roll with them
Yeah.
And then the US was like, all right, well, we got to do something to keep them on our side because these are our quote unquote pawns. You know, like we need them for our fields. And
Exactly.
so they made them a part of
manual labor.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But I would love to dive into this record label stuff
that'd
more.
be a great topic.
I think even if you're not making music, if you're just average DJ who has a family and has a regular job, I think you would still find this interesting because
ownership is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else before we jump into mixes?
No, except fuck the DJs who are hating on the JBP.
Oh, look,
no,
man.
no, not fuck them. Not fuck them.
Nah, fuck that. If you can't relate, man, go sit the fuck down. Shit. Like, it's that simple. Why are you listening to it? Why are you commenting about it?
Well, my question to that is, where did you hear it? Because if it was a clip on a blog, they probably pulled the worst clip that made the JBP look like assholes. You know? So my next question is, if you listen to a full episode, Joe will tell you, I'm not the one to come to for the latest Future track or the latest Lil Yachty. Like, don't come to me for my expert opinion on that. I'm an old head, and he tells people I'm an old head, so take it for what it is. Mm-hmm. And also, they kick a lot of knowledge.
They do. And the funny thing about that is that it's the old head DJs bitching about this show, right? From our, experience.
For those that don't, so we're talking about the Joe Budden podcast, and we just happened to read a couple things, couple tweets, and some people that just were questioning why he even has a podcast or a show. And I'll say this much: we all kind of really got. I mean, you've been listening probably longer than us. Have you been? You
put me onto it.
Yeah, I think it was pretty fresh to where when I started to listen again. I think Rell was listening to it before.
I was listening to it for a while.
All like really dive back into it together. And I think it also became because there was a good year where I didn't fuck with Joe Budden because of how he was on the other show, Everyday Struggle.
Oh yeah.
But that I felt like
I actually liked him.
I loved him on that shit.
Well, it's because Academics was a dumbass, but like that's a whole other story. But like, I think the energy he got off of Academics really gave him this momentum into the podcast that gave him a more mature perspective. Yeah. And then when he is being stupid, I'm kidding, right? Is like the thing, which I respect because, you got to be entertaining as well.
Exactly.
And based on where we grew up and who we grew up with and the environment that we're in, like there's a lot of things that you can relate to. Yeah. Like at the end of the day.
And he says it over and over. This is an entertaining podcast. Right. Shut the fuck up.
It ain't for everybody. I will continue to listen because it's comedy and there's a lot of information, like the way they break down the labels. And maybe this is just me being selfish, but the way they break down business and the labels,
absolutely,
it's refreshing. It's like, oh wow, I didn't know that, or I'm gonna look into that and see if that's accurate because this sounds like it is accurate, Right. But I mean, it's cool. To each his own.
We just had to defend them real quick.
Mickey wanted to defend him. We were here for you, Mike. We had your back.
Thanks.
MikiDz Podcast.
Anyway,
so mixes. We shout out to Chisel. No, he's got this week's mix.
He's got the mix tomorrow. Yeah, with you.
Shout out to Bella Fiasco.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was going to shout out Chisel because he's got this week's mix.
Oh, I thought you were saying it because he was our past guest.
No.
No, people don't get shouts till they're done.
Okay. Shout out to Bella Fiasco.
You gotta do the job first.
Don't be thinking nobody.
What if the listener listens to this after the mix airs?
Joe, I don't care. It's about when it was published.
All right. Never mind. Shout out to Bella for giving us that great mix. And then you went on with her, right, Mike?
Yes. I was on after.
Yeah. So we got Chisel this week.
Pitbull's Gold Edition, Sirius XM.
Yes. That's Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And if you don't know Chisel, Miami native, resident at Hyde, 11, all over Fort Lauderdale and well-traveled. He literally travels the country like anybody else that stays booked around the country. So shout out to him. And if you're not hip to our mixes, you can find them on Mixcloud.
Yep, MikiDz, mixcloud.com/MikiDz Show.
Yes.
There's a funny thing about it. You would talk about how wifey banged on you on DM about Bella not, what you call it? I gotta tell the story because it's fucking hilarious. When
your
you
wife, yeah.
So my wife,
He said, your wife.
He goes, she DMs Joe, right, about Bella posting her, posting about being on the show.
About me posting the Bella
But you were just reposting what Bella said.
No, I was the initial poster. I posted and Bella reposted me, I think. Yeah, because I remember
so I was confused then because I thought there was a post that Bella posted, right? But no, she did post. Bella posted something and she was like, because when when wifey showed me, she was like, babe, what the fuck? And it was Bella's post, or it was Bella's face or whatever, Bella's video. And basically Bella was just like, yo, I'm on the MikiDz radio show, globalization, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Shout out to my boys MikiWAR and Dainjazone or whatever. Right? She did say my name. And she's like, yo, what the fuck? She was being protected. She was, what the fuck? How come she didn't say your name, whatever? Like you on that show, like you're part of that.
Yeah, Bella.
I was like, I don't know. Bella knows who the fuck you are. Like, I was like, yeah, she does. Like I said, babe, it's called the MikiDz Show. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't think she even thought about it. She's spinning with Miki on the show, and you know what I mean. And she just knows that danger's attached to it. So it's like, don't trip. It's all good. You know what I mean. So she DM'd this nigga.
I caught the smoke.
She DM'd this nigga and she said whatever. Right? She was just like, she went off and she's like, yo, what the fuck, blah blah blah. So he screenshots it and sends this to me. He goes, is this how you feel? Does this reflect how you feel? I'm fucking crying, bro. Right? And I'm like, nah, bro. I was like, nah, not at all. I said, to be honest with you, I don't even notice it until she brings it to my attention.
Yeah.
Like I said, most of the time I don't bring it. She always, when someone does it and she sees it, she'll bring it to my attention. How come they never say your name? I said, babe, it's called the MikiDz Show. Like, no one knows. They've been doing this shit for a minute without me on it. So it's like, you have to understand that, right? So she's just like, whatever. So I told Joe, like, nah, bro. Like, I was like, that she's just being a protective wife. He goes, that's what I thought. He goes, but now, what the fuck did you say?
I said, now I'm tagging you in everything.
He says, now I'm tagging you in everything. She brought this shit on herself. I was like, oh, man. She had a good laugh out of that.
So like, what I told, I'm not going to read it word for word, but I just basically said, sometimes we just forget to tag each other. And if I'm doing a mix, I don't know, if one of us is doing a mix, we won't tag the other because the other one really isn't in the mix.
Yeah, and I told her I do that all the time.
So, and that's essentially what happened. I tagged Miki because he's in the mix.
Yeah.
And I said, we all have the same stuff to post, so they're just gonna see it again. And then I think to take it even further, which may be unnecessary, but I don't want anyone to feel obligated to repost what I post if they have it to post.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So all it's going to get is just a like.
Yeah.
But I said we could do a better job of continuing to blast all of our names in every post that's MikiDz related. Like, yeah, sometimes I forget to tag MikiDz Show. So it's like I told her, it's like it's nothing personal.
That's what I told her. I think she felt like it was like on some personal shit. Like, what the fuck?
Wait, is that her response?
That's his response.
No, this is that was my like breaking it down. Like
yeah, that's a lot.
Well, but I had to. Well, because she's family, so I wanted to make sure. I could have just said, "No, it ain't that."
And when he screenshotted it, I saw that it was like his response was kind of like cut off or whatever. I was just like, "Damn!" I said,
"Why he ain't shit?"
Yeah, he screenshotted it. I was like, "Babe, damn, you snap!" I was like, "You said something to him," and she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Yo, it's not that big of a deal." Like,
now she laughed and said, "Yeah, overstood." I stand corrected. It's like, all good. Yeah. But I want to be clear because last thing we need is other people, extended family of the show, coming in with the chip on the show because they didn't like how one of us handled something. Exactly. It's like no,
I wouldn't want Sam to come out and be like, "Yo, Rell's not doing X, Y, and Z." Well, hold up. Maybe there's a misunderstanding.
First of all, Sam's coming after me over my workout.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother different ballgame. That ain't got nothing to do with us as a MikiDz
brand. There.
Control your house, man.
My house isn't in control.
Take off the watch.
Control your rings. Control your rings.
Getting that fight with Grubhub, motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. I'm ready.
He probably was like, Sam, come get your cousin.
See, I can't say that. The signs are too sensitive to say that.
Jenna pushing for equality. I respect that.
The funny thing of it though, like, look, the dude could have had hands, but the funny thing out of all this, he was short and he looked like a roly-poly.
Oh yeah.
Like he was chubby and short, and I was just like, he was shorter than Miki, and I was just like, okay,
I got him. He was like,
not that you're short, Mike, but He was like 5'8".
Why am I the short reference? Like,
You're the gay.
Because he kind of did look like you. I'm just saying.
I'm a tall roly poly. Right.
Oh man.
You're the roly-poly when it stretches out.
Oh my God. You know what? Fuck this podcast. End it on that.
All
Good
right.
talk, gentlemen. Good talk.
Yeah.
Episode 50 in the books, baby.
Right. Black Lives
We'll see
Matter.
y'all next
Yep.
week.
Yeah. Always Black Lives Matter. Peace.